Good morning, this is John Checky, and I apologize for not shooting many videos lately. I'm going to be sure and not get my wife in this picture this morning because she hasn't put on her makeup yet. She wouldn't even recognize herself in this video.
Ha ha ha.
In my case, I'm kind of dressed up today because this outfit is going to serve multiple purposes. After I finish chatting with Susie and seeing what Mr. Varney has to say about the amazing recovery in the stock market or whatever it's doing, then I will, since I've already read the Wall Street Journal and the Bible some, and Our Daily Bread, and expanded some Facebook stuff. Next thing you know, I thought it was going to be a 2022 book, and instead it turned out to be like all the way back to, it seemed like 2015. I know that's true because the kids, the grandchildren, who we'll see in a couple of days, and then a couple more days, are a lot older than that than they were in those pictures. And of course, grandparents just love seeing their kids in little teeny weeny pictures because it reminds us when we're not quite as old as we are now. I was shocked to see today that the life expectancy in the United States has shortened some. So people who were born this year will live about 0.7 years, about 3/4 of a year less than they would have if they had been born the year before that. Why do I smile like that and laugh a little bit, or smirk? I'm pretty sure back when I was born in 1948 that the life expectancy was considerably shorter than how long I've already lived. So I need to look that up. Life expectancy for men born in northern New Jersey in 1948. And as my father used to tell me, it was in a gigantic snowstorm, and you took all damn day to get here. In fact, you weren't born until about 11:25 in the evening. And had I been born the next day, January 17th, anytime after midnight, my draft number would have been considerably different, and my life would have been slightly different too. But I'm thankful to have gotten in the Army during the Vietnam War for an ever so brief 91 or 2 days worth, which is great fun. The ultimate boys camp. Learned how to shoot a Matty Mattel M16, and honest to God, it was made by Mattel. But what's the purpose of this prattling on? Demonstrating for my wife how to actually shoot a video and then post it to YouTube. It's the Christmas season for Christians. It's the Hanukkah season for Jews. And for those of you of the Muslim faith, I apologize not knowing what y'all's holiday is. I really and truly think that throughout history of mankind, whether you believed in the God of Israel, or if you liked Buddha, or if you liked Christ, you glommed onto whatever major holiday there was that was commonly celebrated by whatever culture originated for you. In other words, if you're Italian American and you go back and are lucky enough to find some relatives who admit they're related to you, I might let you know that they celebrate Christmas at a slightly different time. There are other folks who celebrate when the wise men came to visit Christ when he was no longer a baby, but was more of a child. You can also talk to people who celebrate Advent or Pentecost or various other holidays that I'm pretty darn sure subscribe to whatever your culture originated beforehand. Which brings me to an interesting point in terms of this is kind of the tail end of 2022. We are finally going to have a winter day here in north central Texas. The weather is supposed to dip down into the teens in terms of temperature. How does that affect things? Well, you can find out how well your pipes are insulated. You can find out about how old your battery is in your car, because cars have a bad habit of getting dead batteries during colder times because it takes more to crank the cool, if not frozen, or thicker oil in your crankcase and get it through your engine if it's a conventional internal combustion. I'm guessing electric cars just pop right in play. as long as they're properly charged. Not sure what hybrids do. But it's that time of year we get to wear our wool jackets and our wool pants. Yesterday I bought a fleece-lined set of jogging pants. Because when you go outside and it's cold outside, it gets your undivided attention for a period of time. So make the preparations that you need. Might be a good time to light a fire in the fireplace despite the inefficiencies of a fireplace. It gives you the delusion of warmth while it's throwing the heat out the chimney, unless you have a ventless set of gas logs, which we did have at one time. Not sure what the stock markets are supposed to do today. We laughingly say that every day the stock market changes. I'll be going to Osteo Strong, which is a place where I push and pull, see about building strength and bone density. Just finished a lovely banana, shared some of that with my wife. Great cup of coffee with some coconut milk in it. And yes, my mustache is as white as it can possibly be, because in less than a month, on January 16th, God willing, I will be 75 years old. A wonderful time to be alive. So have fun, be well, make this a useful, memorable day. And as Joel Weldon would say, make it a great day. How do you do that? One, in my case, I'll suggest putting a smile on your face, taking a giant, deep breath of fresh air. Maybe even treat yourself to another giant breath of fresh air. Then watch your language. Be kind to each person that you meet, being of encouragement if that's your inclination. If you can't do that, you might do it. Some wonderful people that we know on a regular basis do. They listen and learn, while some of us who prattle on and on keep doing that. We have some Christmas cards that we received this year. Thanks very much for those of you who sent us Christmas cards. We don't seem to do that nearly as often as we used to. Sorry. Also, we've gotten a number of things in the mail, I think from books to supplies that we decided to efficiently get with somebody else's truck instead of our cars. So have fun, be well. When you speak, especially when you're speaking to an older person, please do it with volume, clarity, properly enunciate your words so that we can perhaps understand what in the heck it is you're trying to say to us. Another helpful hint for communication seems to be to ask somebody, gee willikers, I have a story I'd love to tell you, but before I tell you, I'm going to give you the purpose of the story. Then after I finish telling the story, I'm going to ask you to tell me what it is actually said to you, meaning what meaning did it have for you, what message did it have for you, and then how can you take that information and put it into play. As opposed to someone, and it was Dr. Laura, said to me, don't be an ask-hole. And we all thought that was so funny. And what she meant by that is people just keep asking and asking and asking for information and never put it in play. As great as a positive mindset might be, taking that mindset and putting it into play, and I was taking action, is a much better idea than just collecting information ad nauseum. And yes, that cup is from the Netherlands. It's a Delft blue, and I think it's even hand painted. It just brings back pleasant memories. Speaking of pleasant memories, final point. Got to watch a 2-hour special covering Paul Simon's amazing musical journey. I've been lucky enough to get to see Paul Simon a couple of times in person. Initially, it was right after the movie The Graduate came out, and he and Art Garfunkel appeared at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas. I didn't have enough money to actually buy a ticket, but as a student, a friend of mine was head of the ushers, and he said, gee, John, why don't you put on one of your suits and a tie and come help me usher? So I did. I got there very early, as ushers tend to do, and I got to see Art Garfunkel wander around TCU's basketball stadium, which doubles as a big auditorium, to do a sound check with Paul Simon. And Paul Simon would say, "Artie, can you hear me? Artie, can you hear me?" And they only played 2 20-minute sets, and then they went across town to Dallas so they could be with Peter, Paul, and Mary and visit the way they really wanted to. Have fun, be well, listen closely, be of value and service. This is John Checky, happily recognizing that it's wintertime. Have fun, be well, and Merry Christmas.